You've heard the story 1,000 times, right? David versus Goliath, the little guy against the giant. But what if I told you it's not just some old tale? What if there's an actual, honest-to-goodness blueprint for how a smaller, smarter fighter can not only survive, but completely dominate a bigger, stronger opponent? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to break that blueprint down piece by piece.
I mean, just listen to this. It's from an old 19th century boxing manual, and it paints such a perfect picture. The idea of a small, pale, slender-looking slip of a fellow giving a great hulking waterman a very wholesome thrashing. I love that phrase. It's just a timeless reminder that being the biggest person in the room doesn't automatically mean you're going to win.
And look, this isn't just some poet talking. This comes straight out of the art of boxing. And what this book shows us is that beating a bigger opponent, it's not about luck, it's not about some miracle. Nope, it is a science. It's a strategic reality, something that's been tested and proven in the ring for centuries.
Okay, so before we can even talk about how to win, we've got to face facts. We have to understand exactly what or who we're up against. It's time to meet the monster waiting on the other side of the ring.
And here he is, the brawler. This is your Goliath. Now, don't expect any fancy footwork or technical wizardry. His whole game is just raw, overwhelming power. He is built to break you, and he will happily take 3 of your punches just to land one of his own that can end the fight.
And if you want the perfect image of a brawler, who else could it be? Iron Mike Tyson. He was just a truly vicious finisher. People said facing him was like stepping into a hurricane. Just pure, relentless, terrifying force. So the real question is, how on earth do you even survive that kind of storm?
And that right there, that is goal number 1. Forget winning, forget looking good. The first and most important thing is just to survive. You have to be able to weather that initial storm because the stakes are incredibly high. In those first few moments, just staying on your feet is a victory in itself.
If you really want to understand what survival in the ring means, get a load of this. 111 rounds. It's not a typo. The longest fight in history lasted over 7 hours. Can you even imagine that? It was a brutal, bare-knuckle test of pure human endurance. And in the end, both guys were so completely exhausted they couldn't even leave their corners. That is survival.
You know, what's really fascinating is how the danger itself has changed. See, back in the bare-knuckle days, you had to worry about breaking your own hands, right? So fighters usually targeted the body. But today, with modern gloves protecting the fists, you can throw full-force punches to the head without a second thought. And that changes the whole game. The storm is different now, for sure, but it is every bit as deadly.
So if you can't match them for pure, raw savagery, what do? You get smart. You turn to science. And that's where we're headed now. We're moving away from the danger and into the solution. Because there's a clear, technical blueprint that's designed to systematically dismantle all that brute force.
So here it is, the 4 main pillars of the whole strategy. And look, this isn't some magic trick, okay? It's a disciplined, layered approach. 1, keep your distance. 2, use the jab. 3, counterpunch with precision. And 4, target the body and chip away at their gas tank. That's the blueprint.
But it all, and I mean all of it, starts with one critical concept: distance. I want you to picture the ring in 3 different zones. Let's call them A, B, and C. Distance C, that's your safe zone. You're too far away to get hit. Distance B is the sweet spot. That's boxing range, where you can land your shots and still move. And distance A? Well, that's close quarters. That is the brawler's kill zone. Your entire game plan is to live in B and C and avoid A like the plague.
And that control, it all starts right here, with the on-guard position. Now, this isn't just a passive waiting pose. Think of it more like a coiled spring, just ready to go. It's a balanced, firm base of operations. Your movement, your jabs, your counters, everything launches from this spot.
Listen, when you're in there with a brawler, your feet are your absolute best friends. The sidestep, that's your escape hatch. You're constantly circling, moving side to side, pivoting away from their big power hand. Because here's the bottom line. A brawler's power means absolutely nothing if they can't touch you. Your job is to make them chase a ghost.
Okay, let's talk about the jab. It is your #1 weapon here, but maybe not for the reason you think. You're not trying to knock him out with it. Think of it more like a rhythm breaker. It's this constant, annoying little tap that just completely disrupts their timing and gets them frustrated.
Every jab that lands isn't just a point, it's a little psychological victory, pushing them to get angry and lunge in wildly. And that is exactly what you're waiting for.
Look, in any fight like this, there's going to be a crisis point. It's inevitable. You're going to get trapped, you're going to get hurt, you're going to feel their power. But you have to remember, these moments of extreme danger, they are also the moments of greatest opportunity. This is where you can turn the tide.
So when that storm feels like it's just too much, when you're getting overwhelmed, what do? You clinch. And let's be clear, this isn't dirty fighting. This is smart fighting. It's a calculated pause to smother their attack, to catch your breath, and to completely reset the fight back on your terms. It is an absolutely vital survival tool.
And here's the beautiful irony of it all. A brawler's greatest strength, all that aggression, it always becomes their fatal flaw. They get frustrated, they swing wild, they overcommit, and in that split second, they leave themselves wide open. And that's your moment. You duck under that wild haymaker and deliver a clean, precise counter that they never ever see coming.
So, what does that feel like, to land that perfect shot, the one that changes everything in an instant?
Well, the art of boxing describes it like this. You don't just see stars, you discover new planets. Can you imagine that? It's a startling, world-altering impact that just short-circuits their entire system. That right there is the power of precision over brute force.
So when you put it all together, what does victory ultimately look like? Well, it's not about out-muscling the monster. It's about the triumph of mind over might, of science over pure savagery.
This quote frames the entire battle perfectly. The brawler wants to drag you into a chaotic, brutal fight. You want to keep it a disciplined, technical boxing match. The winner is whoever imposes their will and forces the other person to play their game.
And imposing your will, that takes immense mental fortitude. You have to stay disciplined, you have to ignore the crowd, and you have to absolutely refuse to get drawn into their fight. The goal is simple, but it is incredibly difficult to execute under pressure. Hit, and don't get hit.
So, the next time you face a giant, in any walk of life, remember the blueprint. Stay relaxed, trust your strategy, maybe even crack a little smile, and then prepare to give them a boxing clinic.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about, doesn't it? In any contest, at what point does a clear plan and sharp intelligence become a more decisive weapon than just pure physical strength?